You're being tested right now and you know it. It's why everything feels heavier, why the pressure is suffocating, why the things you used to rely on aren't working anymore. This isn't bad luck. This isn't punishment. This is the final test, and it is non-negotiable. The universe is asking you one last time. Are you ready to become who you were born to be? Every chosen one reaches this moment, the point where the old world collapses around you and there's no turning back. You feel it, don't you? The doors that once opened for you are slamming shut. People you thought would always be there are leaving. The distractions that used to numb you no longer work. That's because you are standing at the gate, and what comes next is not for the faint of heart. This is where you prove to yourself that you are who you say you are. This is where talk stops and action begins. This is where everything you went through, the betrayals, the losses, the sleepless nights, finally makes sense. You were being trained for this very moment, but let me be honest with you, this final test will hurt. It will stretch you past your limits. It will expose everything fake around you, everything weak within you, everything you thought you had buried. You will feel naked, vulnerable. You will be tempted to run back to what is familiar, but if you do, the cycle starts again. And I know you don't want to start over, not this time, so you will have to face it, all of it. The fear, the pain, the temptation to quit. Because on the other side of this test is the life you've been praying for, dreaming about, crying over. And the reason it feels so hard right now is because you are so close. This is the last gate before the breakthrough. And the gatekeeper doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your feelings. It only cares about one thing. Are you ready to let go of everything that no longer serves you? Are you ready to walk away from what is safe so you can step into what is meant? And here's the truth. You already know what you need to let go of. That job, that relationship, that habit, that fear, that story you keep telling yourself about why you can't have more. It has to go. You cannot take it through this gate. It will not fit. Yes, it will feel like loss at first. Yes, it will feel like death. But you must remember, death always comes before resurrection. The old version of you must die so the new one can rise. And if you resist it, the pain will only grow stronger. But if you surrender to it, if you allow this process to do what it came to do, you will rise like you never have before. This is why the pressure has been so relentless. You've been feeling it for months, maybe even years. The sense that something is coming. The feeling that the life you've been living is too small for you now. That heaviness in your chest every time you think about staying where you are. That's not depression, that's destiny knocking. And destiny doesn't knock politely. It shakes your entire life until you have no choice but to answer. And when you answer, something in the atmosphere shifts. You will feel it. The energy in the room changes. You breathe deeper, your mind gets clearer. You stop chasing what doesn't want you. You stop begging for the approval of people who were never meant to go with you. And suddenly, the very things that once scared you begin to lose their power. This is what happens when you decide to pass the test. You break the hold that fear had on you. You break the patterns that kept you stuck. You stop fighting yourself and start aligning with who you really are. And when you do, you will notice that life starts to rearrange itself around your decision. But don't think for a second that it will be easy. The moment you say yes, all the old temptations will come back one last time. That toxic person will text you. That old job will offer you a raise. That old fear will whisper that maybe you should wait until things are safer. This is the universe's way of asking, are you serious this time? And your answer must be yes, with your words, with your choices, with your actions. And the beautiful part, the moment you stay firm, the storm will begin to break. The resistance will lose its grip. The weight will lift, and you will stand taller, breathe deeper, feel freer than you have in years. You will look in the mirror and see someone who didn't give up, someone who kept going even when it hurt, someone who passed the test. And that moment, that victory, will change everything. Not just because of what it brings you, but because of who it turns you into. You will never be the same after this. And that is the whole point. You will never be the same after this, and that is the point. You weren't supposed to stay the same. The version of you that played small, that stayed quiet, that kept the peace at the expense of your own soul, that version cannot survive where you are going. This final test is burning that version away. And yes, it hurts, but that pain is proof that it's working. Every chosen one must pass through this fire. Every prophet, every leader, every game changer you admire had their moment of complete collapse before their rise. They were betrayed. They were isolated. They were misunderstood. Some of them were laughed at, mocked, called crazy, and yet they stayed the course. They passed the test. And that is why we remember their names. And this is where you are right now, at the edge of your own story, the part where it looks like nothing is working, the part where most people quit. But you are not most people. You were not chosen to quit. You were chosen to endure, to rise, to become the example. And so the test continues. You will notice that life is now forcing you to confront things you have avoided for years. Those fears you buried, they are resurfacing. Those insecurities you thought you outgrew, they are louder than ever. But don't panic, and this is part of the process. You cannot take what you refuse to face into your future. The test is designed to make you strong enough to hold what's coming. And what is coming is bigger than you think. That's why the shaking is so intense. It is making room for the new. The universe is clearing out what is no longer serving you, sometimes violently, sometimes suddenly.
People will leave.
Opportunities will vanish. Comfort zones will collapse. And you will be tempted to ask, why me? But the real question is, why not me? Because somewhere deep down you prayed for more. You asked for a higher purpose. You begged for breakthrough, and now the breakthrough is here. Just not in the way you expected. It came disguised as loss, disguised as pain, disguised as rejection. But one day soon you will see that it was actually protection, that everything leaving your life was doing you a favor, clearing the path so you could run forward without carrying unnecessary weight. But this part of the journey will require something that many people are not willing to give: radical obedience. You must act even when you are afraid. You must speak even when your voice shakes. You must walk away even when it breaks your heart. Because every time you do, you prove that you are serious about your transformation. And here is something nobody tells you. The test is timed. You cannot stay in this place forever. The longer you resist, the more pressure you will feel. Life will keep turning up the heat until you move. And if you refuse to move, you will stay stuck in the same cycles year after year. But if you decide right here, right now, that you are going to do whatever it takes to pass this test, your whole life will accelerate. That acceleration may feel like chaos at first. People will say you've changed, and they won't mean it as a compliment. You will lose friends. You will outgrow spaces. You will stop fitting in where you used to feel comfortable. But don't mistake this discomfort for a curse. It is evidence that you are evolving, and evolution is not supposed to feel cozy. Caterpillars don't become butterflies in comfort. They dissolve. They fall apart completely inside the cocoon before they emerge. That's what's happening to you right now. Your old identity is dissolving. Your old limits are dissolving. Your old excuses are dissolving. And when you emerge, you will be unrecognizable, not just to others, but to yourself. But you cannot skip this part. You cannot pray your way out of the cocoon. You cannot rush the transformation. You must sit in it, trust it, allow it. You must become comfortable being uncomfortable. Because that is how you grow. And when it gets unbearable, when you feel like screaming, when you feel like breaking, remember this: you are not being punished. You are being prepared. The universe only tests what it intends to trust, and it is preparing to trust you with more influence, more resources, more wisdom, more power. But it cannot hand those things to someone who is still living small, still playing victim, still afraid of their own reflection. So let the fire do its work. Let the walls fall. Let the old you die, and every day wake up and declare, I am passing this test. I am stronger than this. I am not turning back. Speak it until you believe it. Believe it until you live it. Live it until it becomes your reality, because it will, and sooner than you think. Something is happening inside you right now. You can feel it, can't you? The fear is still there, but it doesn't have the same grip on you it once did. The pain is still real, but there's something beneath it. A strange, quiet strength rising from somewhere deep inside. That is the shift. That is the first proof that the test is working. It starts small. You wake up one morning and realize the thing that used to make you cry doesn't hurt as much. You hear the voice of doubt, but this time you talk back. You remember what they said about you, but instead of getting angry, you feel grateful, because now you see that they were actually pushing you toward who you were meant to become. This is what happens when you start to pass the test. Your energy changes. Your choices start lining up with your purpose. You stop waiting for permission and begin moving forward on your own. You stop asking people to understand you because you realize they can't. Not yet. You are ahead of them now. You are becoming something they have never seen before. And because of that, life starts to respond differently to you. New doors crack open. New opportunities show up out of nowhere. Conversations happen that feel divinely timed. The right people begin to notice you, not because you're chasing them, but because your energy is magnetic. You are no longer living like a victim, and that makes you dangerous to everything that tried to keep you small. But don't be surprised when this shift triggers resistance. The moment you start walking in power, opposition rises. Old cycles will try to pull you back. People who were comfortable with the weaker version of you will try to remind you of who you used to be. Don't fall for it. That is the test, part 2. This is where you prove that your transformation is real. Anyone can make a decision in the dark when no one is watching. But can you stay committed when the pressure is public? Can you keep moving when the gossip starts? When the old temptations come back dressed in new disguises, when life throws one last storm your way to see if you mean it? This is where you must plant your feet and refuse to go back. You must declare to the universe, to yourself, to anyone watching, I am not who I was. I will not repeat what I escaped. I will not trade my destiny for comfort. I will pass this test. And as you do, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your courage starts to multiply. Your vision gets clearer. You see possibilities where you used to see dead ends. You stop waiting for rescue and realize you were the hero all along. And that realization is powerful enough to change everything about how you move through the world. You start walking with your head higher, shoulders back, speaking with authority. Not because you are trying to impress anyone, but because you finally believe in yourself. You finally trust the path. You finally see why you had to go through every painful chapter, because it carved you into the kind of person who could carry what's coming next. And yes, what's coming next is big. The universe does not put this much pressure on someone for nothing. The enemy does not fight this hard to stop someone who isn't a threat. You have survived too much, learned too much, grown too much to go back now. That's why everything feels so serious, because the stakes are higher than they've ever been. But now you have something you didn't have before. Momentum. You are moving. You are evolving. You are no longer waiting to be chosen, because you have realized you were chosen the entire time. This is your turning point, the place where you stop reacting and start creating. The place where you stop asking, why me, and start saying, try me. And from here, the energy only builds. You will notice synchronicities, small signs that you are on the right path. The right words will find you at the right time. People you thought were out of your league will cross your path. Doors you couldn't have opened by yourself will begin to swing wide. It won't always make sense, but it won't need to. You will know it is for you. And this is where faith becomes your superpower. Because faith is not believing when it's easy. Faith is believing when everything still looks impossible. Faith is waking up every day and acting like it's already done, even before you see the proof. Faith is looking at the storm and saying, you can't touch me. I already won. The more you exercise that faith, the stronger it gets. And the stronger it gets, the more unstoppable you become. You are no longer at the mercy of life's tests. You are mastering them. And as you master them, you begin to inspire others. People start coming to you for advice, for encouragement, for guidance, not because you told them to, but because your life is now evidence that change is possible. And that is what being chosen is really about. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being willing to go first, being willing to take the hits, being willing to pass the test so that others know they can pass theirs. You become a lighthouse in the dark. Not because your life is perfect, but because your light refuses to go out. And that light will soon be too bright to ignore. The light inside you is getting stronger now. You feel it when you wake up in the morning. That quiet sense of certainty, like something is aligning on your behalf. And it's not just in your head. You are starting to see evidence of it in the world around you. The very doors that were once locked are beginning to crack open. The very people who doubted you are suddenly watching in silence, wondering how you're still standing. And this is where the breakthrough begins to reveal itself. It rarely comes all at once, and instead it comes in waves. A small victory here, an unexpected blessing there. A problem you thought would destroy you suddenly resolves itself. A resource you needed shows up out of nowhere. You find yourself in conversations and opportunities that feel too perfectly timed to be random. This is the reward for refusing to quit. You start to realize that you have become someone new, not because your circumstances changed first, but because you changed first. The things that used to break you no longer do. The people who used to control you no longer can. You are no longer driven by fear. by approval, by the need to prove yourself. You are now driven by purpose, and purpose is stronger than pain. But here is what makes this phase so powerful. Your external world begins to catch up to your internal transformation. You notice that money begins to flow more easily, not because you are chasing it, but because you are aligned. You notice that the right people show up to help you, to collaborate, to support you, not because you begged, but because your energy calls them in. This is the season where the harvest begins. The seeds you planted in the dark, the faith you held when nothing made sense, the battles you fought in secret, they all start to pay off now. And when it happens, you will feel two things at once: deep gratitude and deep responsibility. Gratitude because you finally see why you had to go through everything you did. Responsibility because now you know you are a steward of something bigger than yourself. And with that responsibility comes clarity. You start saying no to things you used to tolerate. You stop wasting time on arguments that don't matter. You stop entertaining people who drain you. You start protecting your energy, your vision, your calling, because now you see how precious it really is. You worked too hard to get here. You refuse to let anything pull you back down. And yes, this new level comes with its own tests. Not everyone will celebrate your breakthrough. Some will resent it. Some will try to sabotage it. Some will try to guilt you back into playing small. But this time you are ready. You have learned that not everyone can come with you, and you are at peace with that. You no longer take rejection personally. You see it as redirection, and that is how you know you've grown. Because before, rejection would have crushed you, loss would have broken you, fear would have stopped you. But now you see all of it as part of the process. You no longer question whether you are chosen. You walk like someone who knows they are chosen. And this is when the miracles start coming faster. Phone calls that change everything. Unexpected opportunities that put you in the right room at the right time. Ideas that come to you in the middle of the night that turn into breakthroughs. People you thought forgot about you suddenly reaching out with exactly what you needed. But this is not luck, this is alignment. This is the result of passing the test. And as you step into this flow, you begin to understand that being chosen was never about being special. It was about being willing. Willing to do the work, willing to let go, willing to trust even when you couldn't see the outcome. And now, because you were willing, the universe is rewarding you. But here's the part that will surprise you. The breakthrough doesn't just benefit you. People around you will start to change simply because they are watching you change. They will see what you overcame, and it will inspire them to face their own tests. They will see your faith and it will ignite theirs. They will see your courage and it will challenge them to stop hiding. And that is how the ripple effect begins. Your victory becomes a map for someone else's survival. Your light becomes a torch for someone else's darkness. Your story becomes proof that transformation is real, that it's possible to lose everything and still rise, to be betrayed and still forgive, to be crushed and still come back stronger. And once you understand that your breakthrough carries this much impact, you start living differently. You start moving with more intention. You stop wasting energy trying to convince people of your worth. You simply live in such a way that they cannot deny it. You start to see that you are not just passing this test for yourself, but for everyone who is secretly watching, waiting for permission to do the same. And this is why the final stretch of the test is so intense, because it's not just about you anymore. It's about the generation after you. It's about the people who will rise because you refuse to stay down. It's about the doors you are opening for those who are coming next. And that is what gives you strength to keep going. That is what keeps you from settling, from shrinking, from quitting. Because you know that this breakthrough is bigger than you. You know that what's waiting on the other side is worth every tear, every lonely night, every sacrifice. You are almost there now. You can feel it. The air feels different. The weight on your shoulders is lighter. The path ahead is clearer. All you have to do is keep going, and then it happens, and the moment you have been waiting for, working for, praying for. The shift you could only feel on the inside becomes undeniable on the outside. The weight you carried for so long is gone. The anxiety that used to keep you up at night is quiet. The storm that felt endless is suddenly still. And for the first time in what feels like forever, you can breathe, really breathe. This is what victory feels like. Not loud, not chaotic, but steady and powerful. It's that calm after the storm where you look around and realize you survived. You made it. You passed the test. And not just barely. You passed with honor, with integrity, with courage. You stayed true to yourself even when everything tried to break you. And now you see clearly. You see why it had to happen this way. You see why certain people had to leave, why certain opportunities had to fail, why certain doors had to close. It wasn't rejection, it was protection. It wasn't punishment, and it was preparation. And now you are standing exactly where you were always meant to stand. This is when the blessings start to flow in ways that make you shake your head in disbelief. The things you used to chase now chase you. The opportunities you thought you missed are replaced with something better. The people who are meant for you find you without you having to force anything. And most importantly, you have peace. The kind of peace that nothing can buy. The kind that isn't shaken by what's happening around you. But this is also where a new level of responsibility begins. Because once you have passed this test, you are no longer allowed to live like you don't know who you are. You can't go back to playing small, to silencing your voice, to dimming your light just to make others comfortable. You have been through too much, learned too much, grown too much to hide. This is where you must stand tall and own your role as a chosen one. This is where you must take everything you've learned and use it, not just for yourself but for others. You must become the mentor you wished you had. You must speak the truth you wished someone had spoken to you. You must create the spaces you once longed for. And the beautiful part, you will not do it alone. Because the moment you step fully into your power, you will attract others like you. Other chosen ones who are also passing their tests, also rising, also ready to change the world. Together you will build something that outlives you. Together you will break generational curses, create new paths, open new doors, and yes, there will still be challenges. There will still be new tests because growth never ends. But now you are ready for them. You no longer fear the fire because you know the fire made you. You no longer fear loss because you know nothing truly meant for you can ever be taken from you. You no longer fear starting over because you know how to rebuild stronger every single time. This is the place where faith becomes unshakable, where gratitude becomes your natural state, where you stop asking, will it work out, and start saying, of course it will. It always does. This is the level where you become the calm in the storm for everyone around you, where you become the voice that reminds others, if I can rise, so can you. And that is your new mission, to become a living example, to carry this light wherever you go, to speak life into people who have given up, to remind them that their pain has purpose, that their test has meaning, that their story is not over. You have been given this victory so you can hand out hope to everyone who needs it. So do not shrink back now. Do not apologize for your power. Do not pretend to be ordinary when you know you were made to be extraordinary. Walk boldly, speak with authority, move with intention, because you are not just representing yourself anymore, you are representing everyone who is still fighting to pass their own test. And when the next storm comes, and it will, you will not panic. You will not question whether you are strong enough. You will smile because you will remember this moment, this victory, this breakthrough. You will remember that you already made it through worse. You will remember that you are chosen, and for the rest of your life, you will carry this truth like armor. No test can defeat you. No setback can destroy you. No enemy can stop what has already been written for you. Your destiny is unstoppable. Your calling is unshakable. And no matter how many battles you face, you will always rise again. So take this as your confirmation. This is your sign. You have been prepared, trained, refined for such a time as this. The final test is behind you. The new chapter is here. And the only thing left to do now is step into it fully, with faith, with courage, with fire. This is your moment. Own it, live it, and never forget. The world is watching, and someone's breakthrough is waiting on yours.